On iOS 9, which is going to be Apple's next major mobile operating system upgrade. It looks like it could be a pretty big deal and have a lot of new features, so in this video, I'm going to tell you what to expect. So, for starters, expect iOS 9 to launch sometime in fall of 2015. It's a timetable that Apple's done in the past, to where they'll show off their new operating system in the summer at WWDC, but then they'll actually unveil it a couple months later. This is a great system because it allows developers to work with the new operating system before it goes live, but it also gets users excited about the new OS before it actually launches. So the first big feature that could be coming in iOS 9 is a more human version of Siri. So Siri is a really great virtual assistant, it's got a lot of functionality, and it's definitely improved over time. In iOS 8 it's its best yet. My favorite new feature is the ability to activate simply by saying "Hey Siri," a lot like what Google's done with OK Google, but there's still a lot of room for improvement. What I really want Apple to do in iOS 9 is to make Siri sound more human-like as opposed to just a robot. It's sort of like what Microsoft's done with Cortana, and it makes your phone a lot easier to talk to and to get information from. It doesn't necessarily make it any more useful, but it's just more natural and it's more pleasant and it's a more smooth experience overall. Now the next thing I want to see Apple add in iOS 9 is home screen widgets. So in iOS 8, Apple sort of did a compromise to where they'll allow you to have widgets on your notification center, but not on your home screen, but I think with iOS 9, it's time for Apple to go the whole distance. Yes, widgets can make your home screen look more cluttered, but this is honestly an overdue feature, and just giving the users the ability to add widgets is one thing, but just saying they can't have widgets altogether is another. I mean, users can just make the decision on an individual basis whether they'd prefer to have the extra functionality of widgets or the more clean look of just the simple OS itself. I mean, widgets in the notification center is a sign that Apple's moving in the right direction, and I think that full-blown widgets on the home screen would be a thing that Apple should add in iOS 9. Now the next feature Apple should add in iOS 9 is the ability to default to third-party apps. So a lot of Apple's apps are pretty decent, the default apps that come pre-installed on any iPhone or iPad, but sometimes users just want to try out a third-party app, or they'll just be using an app that more fits their needs. For instance, if you want to use an app that's not Apple's default mail app, you want to get like Gmail or another alternative, Apple still is basically making their own app the default one, and I think that's a pity. I mean, Apple does a great job for the most part, but it's just nice to have a little bit more flexibility as to what apps you have installed, and sometimes another app will provide you with more what you're looking for. Like for instance, if you use Gmail a lot more than the actual just default mail app, sometimes you just want to actually have everything default to open in Gmail as opposed to in the mail app. I mean, it's not that hard a feature to add, and it just makes iOS more open, so I think that Apple should definitely do this in iOS 9. Now while I'm talking about that, another feature that I like to see in iOS 9, I wanted to see this in basically every iOS update to date, and that's just for Apple to give users the ability to hide the default apps that come on the phone. So, a lot of Apple's apps are